In the next moment, the wolf crashes through the door from underneath and starts dragging Blake away by his foot. Charlotte's heart races with terror, but when she sees her husband in such danger, she grabs an axe and swings at the wolf. Get ready to relive the adventure as we recap the story of horror film today. Wolf Man, production year 2025. The film opens 30 years ago, taking us to a peaceful little village tucked away in the hills of Oregon. We meet a young boy named Blake, who lives alone with his dad, Grady. His mom passed away a long time ago, so it's just the two of them. There are weird rumors swirling around, people talking about a vicious, human-like creature that's been spotted nearby, even attacking a hiker recently. Because of all this talk, Grady is super cautious and strict about safety, making sure Blake stays responsible. But little Blake doesn't really see the danger. All he notices are the beautiful trees and peaceful nature around him, blissfully unaware of the dark threat lurking nearby. One day, Grady decided to take Blake out into the woods to teach him some survival skills, how to find food, spot which plants are safe, and which mushrooms could be deadly. They were walking quietly when suddenly, a deer appeared in front of them. Grady instinctively raised his gun, aiming carefully, but just as he was about to shoot, the deer startled and ran off. He peeked through the scope, his eyes caught something else, something huge and human-like, staring back at him with a wild, terrifying look. Without thinking, he grabbed Blake and they turned to run. Peering through his scope again, Grady saw the dead deer lying on the ground. Then he spotted the monstrous figure lurking nearby. Instinct took over, he fired quickly, but he missed. The beast slipped away. Blake, terrified, asks what the creature was. Grady lies, calling it just a bear to calm him down. That night, he calls his friend Dan. He tells him he saw something that looked human but wasn't quite right. He thinks it might be a missing hiker who got sick from some weird animal-borne illness. Dan doesn't quite buy it, but Grady insists he saw the creature through his rifle scope. He's pretty sure it's dangerous and asks Dan to come help him find it and put an end to it. The next morning, Grady heads out into the woods, determined to track down whatever he saw. But he never comes back. Days go by, and eventually, everyone just assumes he's disappeared. "30 years have gone by. Blake is now living in San Francisco with his family, married to Charlotte and dad to their little girl, Ginger. Charlotte works as a magazine editor while Blake, who's balancing two jobs, stays home to look after Ginger. One day, while they're playing, Ginger's mischievousness almost gets her hurt. Blake's patience snaps. He yells at her in a way he's never done before, and it makes Ginger start crying. Seeing her tear up, he immediately realizes he's turning into his own father. He quickly apologizes, telling Ginger he'll never yell at her again. That evening at dinner, Blake tells Charlotte that his dad, who disappeared 30 years ago, has been officially declared dead. He says he needs to go to Oregon to pack up his things. He also suggests Charlotte come along so they can spend some time together and reconnect. Charlotte's hesitant about taking time off work, but in the end, she agrees to go. The next day, Blake set out on the journey with his family. When they finally arrived in his village, he looked around but couldn't find his old house anywhere. It had been 30 years and everything had changed so much. To make things worse, the internet suddenly went out, so he couldn't pull up a map or get any directions. As they drove around, they saw a man sitting some distance away, holding a gun. When the man saw them, he started coming down and heading toward them. Charlotte froze in panic, shouting at Blake to get out of there because the guy was armed. Blake tried to stay calm, telling her that everyone around here carries a gun. As the man got closer, they realized it was Derek, Blake's childhood friend. Derek recognized him right away. Blake asked Derek to show him the way, and Derek hopped into the car to lead them there. As they were driving near their house, something strange suddenly appeared right in front of the car. Blinding distraction took over Blake, and before they knew it, they were in a terrible crash. The car flipped over and panic set in. Derek frantically tried to get out. Just as he finally opened his door, a horrifying attack happened. An unseen creature dragged him away, leaving him brutalized and dead in an instant. Witnessing this nightmare, the family hurried to escape. Charlotte and Ginger managed to climb out of the car, but as Blake tried to follow, the creature struck him, injuring his arm. Still, he pushed himself free. The three of them took off running, the beast hot on their heels, heading straight for Blake's home. They managed to reach the dark house just in time, slamming the door behind them, barely escaping the terrifying creature. Blake starts by rummaging around for a torch, then uses it to turn on the generator. Once it's running, he shines the flashlight through the window and sees that the animal has gone. Charlotte looks totally confused and asks Blake what the creature was. Blake quickly lies, pretending he's just as surprised and has never seen anything like it before. Charlotte panics a bit, insisting they need to get help because they can't handle whatever that was on their own. Blake spots his dad's old radio nearby and gets the idea to tune into a frequency and try calling for help. But when he turns the dial, nothing happens. No signal, no way to reach anyone outside. Things start to get really weird when Blake suddenly begins losing his teeth. His injured arm is bleeding, but he brushes it off as just a scratch from the car window glass. Charlotte, however, isn't convinced. She insists it's caused by an animal's claw. She patches him up and takes Ginger to bed. As Blake works on locking the front door, something strange happens. His senses become unnaturally sharp. He can smell things from miles away and hear even the tiniest sounds, like a needle dropping 50 feet away or a spider crawling on the wall in the next room. It's obvious now that the wound on his hand isn't just a cut, it's changing him from the inside. By the middle of the movie, Blake's condition gets worse. His face starts to shift, his voice deepens, and he begins losing his hair. With each passing hour, he gets more and more unrecognizable. He slowly loses the ability to speak altogether. Charlotte tries everything she can think of, calling emergency services, trying to find someone to help him, but nothing works. It's like they're completely cut off from the world. In the next moment, the wolf crashes through the door from underneath and starts dragging Blake away by his foot. Charlotte's heart races with terror, but when she sees her husband in such danger, she grabs an axe and swings at the wolf, trying to scare it off. Luckily, Blake is pulled free and saved. Yet Blake knows deep down he's not going to make it. Fear overwhelms him, and he ends up urinating in panic. Charlotte quickly calms him down, handing him a pen and paper so he can try to communicate. He scribbles one word: dying. Charlotte tries to soothe him, telling him he's just sick and will be okay, but his mind is slipping. His eyesight is fading and his hair starts falling out in clumps. His condition worsens fast. Seeing her father so fragile and unwell, Ginger becomes really scared. Charlotte hugs her tightly and assures her everything's going to be all right. She promises they'll take Blake to the doctor first thing in the morning. Charlotte's heart sank when she saw Blake's arm bleeding again. She quickly peeled back the bandage. His skin was completely rotted away. Blake was in so much pain he started scratching at his wound, then biting into it. Charlotte's mind raced. They didn't have all night. If Blake didn't get help soon, she knew she might lose him forever. She found the keys to an old truck and decided to drive him to the hospital herself. She got her family into the car, but just then, a wolf suddenly jumped on top of their car. Panicked, they jumped out and ran toward a nearby greenhouse. They scrambled onto the roof, but the wolf followed and started tearing into the roof. Ginger almost slipped through a hole, but Charlotte grabbed her just in time. Blake looked down, realizing it was too dangerous. He nodded at Charlotte, signaling her to take Ginger home while he stayed behind to distract the wolf. Taking advantage of the distraction, Charlotte and Ginger safely reached the house. A short time later, Blake comes back home, but he's changed a lot. His teeth have turned into full-on wolf-like fangs, and his animal side is taking over faster than he expected. He knows he's starting to become a real danger to his family. So he decides he can't stay. He has to leave them behind. Just as he opens the door to go, he spots another wolf standing there. Without thinking, a fierce fight erupts between Blake and this new wolf man. In the end, Blake manages to kill him. But then he notices a familiar tattoo on the creature's arm. It's his father, who disappeared 30 years ago. Blake turns and races out of the house, desperate to keep his family safe from himself. Outside, he suddenly collapses, his body twisting and changing. His jaw juts out as his teeth grow sharp and long. Thick, dark hair erupts all over his body, claws sprout from his fingers. He's fully turned into a werewolf. Now that he's transformed, he moves toward his own family, ready to attack. Charlotte knows she's dealing with a real danger, so she keeps the door shut and grips a knife tightly, ready to defend herself. Blake finally gets inside, but his human mind is still fighting the beast inside him. He hesitates, torn between two worlds. Seeing only the monster in front of her, Charlotte lunges at him with the knife. Blake tries to grab her to stop her, but she keeps fighting. Charlotte and Ginger dash inside the barn and hide. Charlotte quickly spots a bear trap and thinks about using it. Just then, Blake forces his way through the door, breaking it down. Even though it's dark inside, Charlotte and Ginger think Blake can't see them, but with his sharp eyesight, he spots them easily. As Blake steps forward, he accidentally steps right into the bear trap. Seeing their chance, Charlotte and Ginger take off running. Blake bites his own foot to free himself from the trap and chases them while crawling. Charlotte and Ginger wander around for a while and end up back at the original accident site. Their car is still overturned nearby. Charlotte spots a gun lying on the ground, grabs it, and quickly climbs up into the treehouse to hide. By then, morning has broken. Blake shows up, chasing after them, climbs up the tree, and just watches them without doing anything harmful. Charlotte hesitates, torn between her love for Blake and what she's supposed to do. She can't bring herself to shoot him. Ginger again reads Blake's thoughts. She whispers to Charlotte, "Dad wants you to kill him. That's why you should shoot him." Blake gets closer and Charlotte fires the gun, ending Blake's suffering. He falls to the ground. Charlotte and Ginger climb down and sit near him. Ginger once more reads Blake's mind, quietly whispering, "Dad, you're still thinking about how much you love your family. That's why you didn't hurt us." Hearing that, Blake passes away. The grief hits Charlotte hard. She pulls her mother into a tight hug and begins to cry, shocked and overwhelmed. With heavy hearts, they turn away and start walking toward a new life, ready to leave the past behind. And showing this story ends here. Appreciate a subscribe and please remember to like. Thanks for watching.